Hey YouTube. Well, today I want to wrap up my review of the Porter Cable 6-piece toolkit and the comparisons between it and the Ryobi 6-piece toolkit. Now, the reason why I chose these kits is, first off, I had the Ryobi kit already. I'd gotten it on sale last year for around $200. It retails between $200 and $300 is usually the price points I've seen it at. The Porter Cable kit will run in that same price range. The high end on this one is $350. The low, what I paid for it, you may see it lower than that, was $230. They're pretty much identical with the tools that come with them. They both have a reciprocating saw or sawzall. They both have a flashlight, impact, drill, multi-tool, and circular saw. Now, I've done 2 videos on these where I did the drill drivers against each other and I did the impact drivers against each other. And in both of those scenarios, the Ryobi came out the winner. What I think it became clear to see is that the battery life on the Ryobi was far superior to the battery life on the Porter Cable. The Ryobi also has some features on it that I felt helped it win out as well. One of them is on the saw, they have a laser guideline, whereas on the Porter Cable it does not come with that. The Porter Cable, I liked how they did their multi-tool a little better than the Ryobi multi-tool. The flashlights, the Porter Cable actually edges out the Ryobi a little bit, but neither one is anything to write home about. These are basic flashlights that were thrown in these kits to complete that 6-tool number. You'll notice they do that. They put a few good tools in there. Then there's always like a cheap flashlight in there. As far as chargers go, I'm not a fan of the Porter Cable charger. It's basically, it just feels cheap. It plugs in like any other charger, but it slips on over top of the battery. Maybe it's just me, but I'm used to having a charger like this. Yes, it's bigger. Yes, it takes up a little bit more space, but it just feels a lot more rugged than the Porter Cable charger. That's more of my opinion thing than anything based in fact, but this one just felt cheap to me, and I was not a fan of it. Overall, the purpose of this video is for those of you that are looking to buy a kit or looking to get into tools, and you want to buy something that's not high-end, but is not the absolute bottom of the barrel, and you've got a few $100 to spend, what's a good system to get into? And for me, it would be the Ryobi system. Just from what I demonstrated in the other 2 review videos on them alone would lean me toward going with Ryobi over to Porter Cable. But also, it's the amount of tools that are going to be available to you with the Ryobi 1 Plus system. I think if you had a couple $100 to spend and it's around Black Friday and they've got this kit down for $200, or even if you need a kit and you pick it up for $250 during the rest of the year, you're not going to be disappointed with the money spent. If you want top of the line, everybody knows the top of the line brands. You got Milwaukee, DeWalt, Bosch. You can spend the money if that's really what you're after. But for a new homeowner or a beginning DIYer, someone that just needs a tool set while they figure things out, and something that gives them the option to grow and adjust that toolkit and make it theirs, you know, tweaking it, adding tools to it like a jigsaw or something else that you might need, again, the money's on the Ryobi. For those of you that have sent me messages about how crappy Ryobi is, I hear you. I know what you're getting at, and I believe 50% of your stories about how bad the Ryobi brand is and how their tools burn up after you use them for one day. If you are buying a drill and you burn it up in one day and you go in and get it replaced and then you burn that one up the next day, which is the one comment I got, I believe it was 2 or 3 times they were burnt up within a matter, it sounded like a week, you're probably doing something wrong with that drill. If you need something that is going to be doing that kind of heavy duty work, you're going to have to spend the money for a heavy duty drill. These are not designed for that. These are definitely the homeowner beginning DIYer brand. That said, I was working on a job with a guy that was working on some doors, and this guy was a huge guy, and I don't mean big like football player big, I mean like 450 pounder this way big. And he obviously had problems bending over. His belly was in the way. So what he was doing was he would work on this door, and it was a commercial situation here with a concrete sidewalk underneath him. And he was using Ryobi brand tools. And he would take his drill or his impact or whatever he was using, and when he was done with it, he would drop it on the ground. Then take his foot and kick it over to where he had a little step ladder set up. Then he would go over there and he would lean on the step ladder and support himself while he leaned down and he picked the tool up when he needed it again. And I'm watching him do this, and he's repeating this process. And I finally said to him, I go, how long have you had that kit? And he goes, oh, 2 years. So for people that tell you how much garbage Ryobi is, and how it doesn't hold up, I've seen it hold up. And I've had this kit now for almost a year. My batteries have not exploded. My drill did not die at the end of one day. Would I want to go out into the great big north woods and build a house with it, with this being the only kit that I could rely on? Probably not. But for the things that I've got to do to get done around my house, and the ability that it gives me to have a myriad of options that I can add to this kit as I need to, and the price point that most of those tools are at, and the fact that if you watch the sale prices, you can really find some great deals. I don't think it's that bad of a kit, and I think it's a pretty good bang for your buck. Well, I'm not going to go on about it. I think I've made my points. As always, I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.